My phone buzzed with a message from my sister that hit like a slap. "Don't bother showing up to my conference. You'll just embarrass us with your nurse stench." I stared at the screen, my shift just ending at the clinic in Washington, D.C. No one else in the family chat responded, but I knew they agreed. She'd been planning this big medical conference for months, positioning herself as the star doctor, while I got stuck with the low-end jokes about bedpans and long hours. I pulled up my bank app right there in the break room, checking the transfers I'd made secretly. $12,000 wired in chunks through her colleague to cover the venue speakers and catering. She was too proud to ask me directly, but her friend had hinted she needed it fast after losing a grant. I did it for family, or so I thought. But now, logging into the shared account details, she'd used my clinic perks for quicker processing. Something didn't add up. The payments listed my name as the primary payer, but with her tax ID mixed in. Wait, that couldn't be right. I cross-checked the conference invoices on my laptop. There it was fraud. She'd faked documents to claim my contributions as her own for some reimbursement scheme, probably to boost her reputation. My heart raced as I realized she'd been using my identity to pad her credentials. I was Brooke Landon, 32. The nurse who'd built a steady career from nothing, and now she was stealing from me too. This wasn't just sibling rivalry. It was betrayal, plain and simple. I'd ignored the digs at family dinners, the eye rolls about my job not measuring up to hers. But this, crossing into illegal territory, I shot a quick email to the venue manager requesting full payment logs. Their reply came fast, confirming the mess. My sister had no idea what was coming. If you've ever been stabbed in the back by your own blood, hit that like button and subscribe. This gets messier, and you won't want to miss how it explodes. I decided to dig deeper right after that venue reply. I accessed my bank's secure portal and pulled up the detailed transaction history. The logs showed my sister had linked her conference expenses to my account, claiming it as a joint medical reimbursement under my clinic's tax perks. But the forms had forged signatures, mine digitized from old family docs. I cross-referenced with the conference organizer's portal, where I'd been added as a silent payer. There, buried in the fine print, was a note about her applying for a grant using data that looked familiar. It hit me those were my research notes from nursing school, ideas on patient care protocols I'd shared years ago. She'd stolen them, repackaged as her own breakthrough to secure funding. I called Nolan Patel, my sister's colleague who'd facilitated the transfers. "Nolan, explain this mess," I demanded over the phone. He hesitated, then spilled. "She said it was family help. But yeah, she tweaked your old work to impress the board. Thought you'd never notice." His voice cracked, admitting he'd signed off on the docs to keep his job. That twist fueled my resolve. Our grandma had always warned about her competitive streak, but this was outright theft. I saved screenshots of everything, building a file for potential fallout. Next, I reached out to Lila Moreno, our aunt who'd overheard family whispers. "Aunt Lila, you know about the conference cash?" I asked bluntly. She sighed. "Your sister bragged at brunch how she leveraged your setup. Didn't think it was shady." Her confirmation sealed it. I organized the evidence chronologically, noting how this violated medical ethics codes and could trigger a fraud audit. No more ignoring the slights. This demanded action. That evening, I headed straight to my parents' house for the weekly family dinner evidence file tucked in my bag. My sister was already there, chatting with my mother about her upcoming speech at the conference. My father poured wine as I walked in, and Aunt Lila nodded from her seat, her usual smirk in place. The table was set with roast chicken, mashed potatoes, and green beans, standard fare for these gatherings where they'd praise my sister's achievements and downplay mine. I sat down quietly, waiting for the right moment to drop the bomb. My sister passed the bread basket and said, "Pass the butter, nurse maid," with a laugh that my mother echoed. Aunt Lila chimed in, "Yeah, don't want hospital germs on the food?" I gripped my fork tighter but held back, focusing on the plan. As the main course wrapped up, I pulled out printouts from my bag and slid them across the table. "This is about the conference funding," I stated flatly. My sister froze her fork midway to her mouth. "What are you talking about?" she snapped. I pointed to the highlighted sections showing the forged signatures and her use of my research. "You took my nursing protocols, claimed them as yours for that grant. That's fraud, sis." My mother gasped and said, "Brooke, this is family, don't air dirty laundry." But my father leaned forward, brows furrowed. "Hold on, Cassidy, is this true?" My sister slammed her napkin down. "It's just borrowing ideas, you were never going anywhere with them anyway." Aunt Lila jumped in, defending her. "She's the doctor. You should be grateful she elevated your scribbles." The room tensed as arguments flew, voices rising over the clinking glasses. I didn't back down, pulling up my phone to show the email chain with Nolan. "Your colleague confirmed it. He helped route the money through my account." My sister turned red and yelled, "Nolan's lying to save his ass. This is jealousy because I'm succeeding." My mother tried to mediate, saying, "Girls, calm down, we can fix this privately." But I shook my head. "No, Mom. This crosses lines, it's identity theft under medical board rules. I could report it tomorrow." Aunt Lila scoffed and said, "You're overreacting. Family shares everything." That's when the new twist hit. My father admitted quietly, "I knew she used some of your old papers, but I thought it was harmless." His confession stunned the table, revealing he'd covered for her before to protect her career. My sister glared at him. "Dad, shut up." The betrayal deepened, turning the dinner into chaos. Pushing my chair back, I laid out the consequences. "I'm pulling all payments tonight, venue, speakers, everything. And if you don't come clean, I'll file a civil complaint for misrepresentation." My sister lunged forward, grabbing the papers. "You wouldn't dare ruin my big break," she hissed. I snatched them back and said, "Watch me. You've belittled my work long enough." My mother pleaded, "Think of the family name." Aunt Lila added fuel, calling me petty. Typical nurse drama, always playing victim. But my father stayed silent now, his earlier admission hanging heavy. The argument escalated, with my sister threatening to cut me off forever. I stood my ground, detailing how her scheme violated state fraud statutes, which could lead to license review. No one touched dessert as tempers flared. By the end, I gathered my things and walked out, leaving them shouting behind me. My sister followed to the door, grabbing my arm. "Brooke, fix this, or you're dead to us." I pulled away and replied, "You started it now. Deal with the fallout." Driving off, I contacted Theo Vaughn, a lawyer specializing in medical disputes, briefing him on the evidence. He agreed it qualified for a lawsuit under DC fraud laws, advising quick action to freeze her assets tied to the event. The night's confrontation had exposed deeper rifts, but it solidified my next steps. No more playing nice. The next morning, Theo Vaughn met me at his office downtown, reviewing the file I'd emailed overnight. "This looks solid for a civil suit under DC's fraudulent misrepresentation statutes," he said, flipping through the docs. "We can seek an injunction to halt her conference spending immediately." I nodded and handed over fresh printouts from my clinic's internal audit, showing how she'd accessed my login for reimbursement claims. Theo jotted notes and added, "We'll need affidavits from witnesses, start with her colleague." I texted Nolan right then, demanding a sworn statement. He replied quickly, agreeing to meet later that day. As Theo outlined the timeline, a new twist emerged when he cross-checked public records. My sister had used my credentials in a prior grant application 2 years back, linking it to a family loan our parents co-signed without telling me. "This escalates to potential embezzlement," Theo warned. I authorized him to draft the papers, focusing on freezing any tied accounts. Nolan showed up at a coffee shop mid-afternoon, looking nervous with a folder in hand. "Here's the affidavit. I detailed how she routed funds through your perks," he said, sliding it over. I scanned it and pressed, "Anything else I should know?" He shifted uncomfortably and confessed, "Your aunt pushed her to do it, saying family resources are shared." That revelation stung, confirming Aunt Lila's deeper involvement beyond dinner jabs. I recorded his statement on my phone for the record, ensuring it aligned with ethical disclosure rules. Nolan warned, "She's rallying your parents against you, called me last night freaking out." I dismissed him and forwarded the audio to Theo, who incorporated it into the complaint draft. The prep intensified as I compiled a timeline of her accesses using clinic logs to prove unauthorized use. Back home that evening, my mother called, her voice shaky. "Brooke, drop this nonsense, your sister's career is on the line." I cut in. "Mom, she broke laws using my name. This isn't negotiable." She paused and dropped another twist. "Your father encouraged her back then, thinking it would help the family financially." Her admission exposed how they'd enabled her schemes for years, prioritizing her over me. I hung up and emailed Theo the call summary, strengthening our case for familial conspiracy under fraud laws. He responded with a revised injunction motion ready for filing. I then logged into the conference portal and initiated cancellation requests for the speakers and catering, citing payer disputes, legal under contract terms. The following day, Theo filed the emergency motion in D.C. Superior Court, attaching all evidence for a temporary restraining order. "This blocks her from using any disputed funds," he explained over the phone. I followed up by notifying the medical board anonymously about the ethics breach, triggering their review process. Aunt Lila texted threats saying, "You'll regret dragging us into court." I ignored her and met with a notary to affirm my own statement detailing the impacts on my professional standing. As filings processed, my sister bombarded my voicemail. "Brooke, call off your lawyer, we can settle this," she pleaded desperately. I saved them as further proof of awareness, pushing the drama toward inevitable confrontation. With the injunction granted that afternoon, I executed the final prep steps, coordinating with the venue manager via email to reverse charges. "Confirm all refunds to my account," I instructed. Theo reviewed the order and said, "We're set for the hearing next week. This could lead to damages." A last twist came from reviewing old family emails. My father had forwarded my research drafts to her, intentionally labeling them as shared assets. That cemented the betrayal, allowing Theo to amend for aiding and abetting. I archived everything, securely ready to pull the trigger on full cancellations once the order took effect. The buildup left no room for doubt. Action was imminent. The venue manager called first thing the next day, his tone urgent. "Ms. Landon, the injunction hit our system. All bookings tied to your account are frozen. I confirm the reversals, directing refunds for the $12,000 back to me under court order." Theo followed up with confirmation that the medical board had launched an inquiry, citing my anonymous tip on credential misuse. By noon, I executed the speaker cancellations through their agency portal, emailing each one about the funding dispute. My sister texted furiously, "What the hell, Brooke? The event's crumbling." I replied curtly, "Face the consequences of your fraud." That's when Nolan messaged a heads up. A local health journal had picked up the board's review, publishing an article questioning her grant claims. The scandal spread fast online, with colleagues sharing links in group chats. Aunt Lila called, ranting, "You've destroyed her reputation. How could you?" I hung up, letting the fallout build. My sister showed up at my clinic unannounced that afternoon, storming into the waiting area. "Brooke, call this off now," she demanded, drawing stares from patients. I stepped out and said, "Sis, you dug this hole using my work, forging docs. The lawsuit's filed." She paced and snapped, "It's not fraud, it's survival in this field." Then came the new twist. She blurted, "Mom helped draft those applications. She said it was for the greater good." That admission floored me, revealing my mother's direct role in the cover-up, likely to boost family prestige. I recorded her outburst discreetly, forwarding it to Theo for the case file. Security escorted her out as she yelled, "You'll pay for this." The confrontation amplified the drama, with staff whispering about the scene. By evening, the journal article went viral in medical circles, tagging her profile and sparking comments from peers. "Shady practices," one wrote. Another demanded, "Board investigate fully." Theo called with updates. The lawsuit summons served to her office requiring her response within 20 days under DC rules. I monitored the conference site status, seeing vendors pull out one by one after my notifications. My father left a voicemail, his voice strained. "Brooke, your mother's devastated. Talk to us." I deleted it and focused on gathering more depositions, including one from a former intern who'd witnessed her repurposing files. Aunt Lila amplified the mess by posting on a family forum accusing me of sabotage, which only drew more scrutiny. The board escalated their review overnight, suspending her speaking privileges, pending investigation, a standard procedure under professional conduct codes. My sister went live on a professional network, tears streaming. "This is a witch hunt by jealous rivals," she claimed, but viewers called her out in real time. "Own up to the theft," one commented. Theo texted that damages could reach $50,000 if we proved financial harm. Another twist surfaced when I dug into bank statements. My parents had wired her extra funds from a joint account, masking it as loans to evade taxes. I alerted Theo, who amended the suit for complicity. The family group chat exploded with accusations, my mother typing, "Brooke, you're tearing us apart." As refunds processed clean into my account, I blocked their numbers to cut the noise. Theo prepared for the preliminary hearing, subpoenaing records from her clinic. My sister's employer issued a statement distancing themselves, placing her on leave. Nolan provided additional emails showing her directing the forgeries, sealing her fate. The payback unfolded precisely, with each step backed by legal filings, no turning back now. The preliminary hearing kicked off the following week in a packed courtroom, Theo presenting our evidence stack against my sister's defenses. The judge ruled in our favor, awarding me $25,000 in compensatory damages for the misuse and ordering her to repay the full $12,000 plus interest. Her lawyer argued mitigation, but the board's parallel findings on ethics violations sealed it. Her license got probationary status under DC regulations. As the gavel fell, my sister shot me a venomous look from the defense table. Theo shook my hand and said, "Solid win, we can pursue further if she appeals." I walked out, ignoring her attempt to approach, and headed straight to my bank to verify the incoming transfers. Nolan texted congratulations, noting her clinic had demoted her amid the publicity. The victory shifted momentum, allowing me to redirect funds toward my own ventures. My sister cornered me at a neutral spot 2 days later, a park bench she suggested via a burner number. "Brooke, take the money, but drop the board complaint," she begged, her eyes darting. I crossed my arms and shot back, "Sis, you crossed every line, now live with it." She leaned in and whispered a desperate twist. "Dad funneled clinic donations through your name too to dodge audits." That exposed my father's ongoing role in their schemes, likely violating nonprofit tax laws. I stood up and said, "That's on you all, I'm done." She grabbed my sleeve. "Family sticks together." I pulled free and walked away, reporting the new detail to Theo for a separate inquiry. Her pleas turned to shouts behind me, but I kept moving, severing that tie for good. The damages payout arrived swiftly, bolstering my savings for a private nursing practice. I leased space in a midtown building and hired staff focusing on community care protocols I'd developed independently. Theo handled the loose ends, filing a no-contact order after her harassing calls violated court terms. My mother showed up at the new office uninvited, clutching a folder. "Brooke, sign this release, your sister's losing everything." I refused and said, "Mom, you enabled it. Step back." She revealed another layer. We all skimmed from family trusts to fund her rise. That confession prompted me to alert authorities on trust fraud under estate laws, leading to their accounts freeze. She left in tears, but I locked the door, prioritizing my setup. As my practice launched successfully, drawing patients from underserved areas, my sister's career tanked further. She resigned under pressure and took temp gigs at urgent cares. Theo confirmed the board's full revocation hearing, citing our suit's evidence. Aunt Lila tried one last mediation call. "Oh, Brooke, forgive and forget." she urged. I laughed dryly and replied, Aunt Lila, your meddling ends here, goodbye. Hanging up, I blocked her permanently. My father emailed apologies, but I forwarded it to Theo as potential admission of guilt, strengthening any countersuit defenses. The family imploded publicly with local forums buzzing about the fallout, but I stayed detached, channeling energy into expanding services. The clean break felt final when I changed my contact info and relocated my office slightly. Theo wrapped the case with a settlement addendum ensuring no appeals. My sister's attempts at reconciliation fizzled as her network shunned her. I thrived independently, partnering with local hospitals on genuine initiatives. No more family shadows, just forward progress. The settlement wrapped up neatly a month later with Theo negotiating an additional $15,000 in punitive damages after the board revoked her license entirely. I invested the total payout into upgrading my practice, adding specialized equipment for outpatient procedures, and partnering with insurers for broader coverage. My patient list grew steadily, referrals pouring in from satisfied clients who'd read about the scandal. Nolan reached out once more, offering insider tips on avoiding similar pitfalls. In my expansion, he'd switched jobs to escape the backlash. I accepted his advice and cut ties, focusing on hiring a reliable team. Meanwhile, my sister's appeals failed under appellate review, leaving her ineligible for medical roles in the district. Aunt Lila attempted a back-channel plea through a mutual contact, but I shut it down swiftly. The final push came when I discovered via a leaked audit report Theo obtained legally that my parents had diverted inheritance funds to bail her out, previously a violation of probate laws that triggered a separate probe. My mother ambushed me at a professional networking event, slipping into the crowd with my father in tow. Brooke, we've lost enough, sign this non-disclosure to end the probes, she urged, handing over a document. I skimmed it and tore it in half. Mom, Dad, your schemes end here. I'm reporting this diversion too. My father stammered. It was to protect her future, our legacy. That slip revealed their long-term favoritism, funneling resources unevenly since college to favor her ambitions. I signaled security and said, "Leave now, or I'll make this public." They backed off, faces pale as attendees murmured. Theo filed the new complaint that night, citing fiduciary breach under DC trust statutes, which froze their assets pending investigation. The encounter marked the absolute cutoff, no more family obligations. The grand opening of my expanded clinic drew local press and community leaders celebrating with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. I stood at the podium thanking supporters who'd believed in my vision. This place stands for honest care built from scratch, I announced to applause. Behind the scenes, my sister's temp jobs dried up as employers cited the revocation, forcing her into unrelated admin work. My parents faced mounting legal fees, their social circle shrinking amid the probes. Aunt Lila's online rants backfired, leading to her own professional scrutiny. I declined all their outreach attempts, changing locks and screening calls. Theo closed the files with a clean slate for me, confirming no liabilities lingered. The triumph solidified my independence, turning their downfall into my foundation. Months on my clinic hit record revenue, expanding to a second location with grant funding I'd earned legitimately. My sister's public profile vanished after a failed comeback attempt, her network labeling her unreliable. My father tried one last email through a third party admitting defeat. "We were wrong, please reconsider." I forwarded it to authorities as evidence of tampering and deleted the thread. My mother sold assets to cover fines from the trust case, isolating them further. Aunt Lila distanced herself publicly, but her involvement surfaced in depositions. I built new alliances in the field, mentoring young nurses on ethics. The complete severance brought clarity, no regrets in walking away. In the end, standing firm paid off. Greed destroys trust, especially in family. Don't let it slide, or it'll cost you everything. If this story hits home, share your thoughts below. Thanks for sticking with me. Hit subscribe for more real-life turns.